Have you ever wondered why Pakistan, a country rich in resources, finds itself in an unending cycle of economic crises? To understand the present, we must delve into the past. The genesis of the economic crisis in Pakistan takes us back to the tumultuous year of 1947, when the Indian subcontinent was partitioned, birthing two new nations, India and Pakistan. As a newborn nation, Pakistan grappled with a multitude of challenges. One of the most immediate and pressing was the lack of adequate infrastructure. The country had inherited a mere 1/6 of the factories that were once part of undivided India. This dearth of industries left a significant portion of the population unemployed, placing a massive burden on the economy from the get-go. Simultaneously, the country was dealing with a refugee crisis of unprecedented proportions. Millions of displaced individuals flooded into Pakistan, fleeing the violence that marked the partition. The newly formed government, already strapped for resources, had to provide for these refugees, further straining the economy. Political instability was another key factor. Pakistan's nascent years were marked by a series of political upheavals, with governments toppling one after another. This lack of political continuity impeded the formulation and implementation of long-term economic policies, leading to inconsistent growth. And then there was the issue of the agricultural sector. At the time of partition, Pakistan was an agrarian society. However, the majority of irrigation systems and resources were left on the Indian side of the border. This severely hampered agricultural productivity, a critical component of the economy. These initial challenges were formidable, and their effects reverberated through the decades, shaping the economic landscape of Pakistan. A lack of industries, the burden of refugees, political instability, and agricultural challenges all played their part. Thus, a combination of historical, political, and economic factors set the stage for the economic crisis that would unfold over the years. While the country has seen periods of growth and development, these underlying issues have continued to fuel the cycle of economic crises. The 1970s and 1980s were particularly tumultuous periods for Pakistan's economy, and here's why. The 70s were marked by a significant shift in Pakistan's economic policy. The government, under the leadership of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, embarked on a journey of nationalization. Industries and banks were taken over by the state in an attempt to distribute wealth more evenly and control economic activities. This decision, however, had unintended consequences. Nationalization led to inefficiencies as state-run enterprises lacked competition, and corruption seeped into the system, hampering economic growth. The lack of private investment further stagnated the economy, and by the end of the decade, Pakistan was in dire economic straits. As the 80s dawned, Pakistan saw another drastic shift in its economic policy. The military regime, keen on undoing the effects of nationalization, championed deregulation and liberalization. Private enterprises were encouraged, foreign investments were sought, and the economy was opened up. This resulted in a short-term economic boom. However, this growth was not sustainable. The focus on short-term gains led to the neglect of key sectors like education, health, and infrastructure, which are vital for long-term economic stability. Moreover, the liberalization policies resulted in an influx of foreign goods, which outcompeted local industries. The local manufacturing sector suffered, and Pakistan became increasingly reliant on imports, leading to a significant trade deficit. In addition, the lack of regulatory oversight led to the growth of a parallel economy and an increase in economic disparity. To sum it up, the 70s and 80s were decades of drastic economic experiments for Pakistan. The pendulum swung from extreme nationalization to liberalization, both of which had their pitfalls. These policies, while well-intentioned, often ignored the long-term implications, leading to economic instability and widening inequality. The seeds of economic instability were further sown during these decades, leading to an even greater crisis. As we moved into the 21st century, the economic crisis in Pakistan took on a new, more destructive form. The dawn of the new millennium brought in its wake a myriad of challenges for Pakistan's economy. The war on terror, initiated post-September 11, bore a heavy toll on the country's fiscal health. The financial burden of maintaining security and rebuilding infrastructure strained the resources of the nation and contributed to a soaring national debt. This rising debt level put Pakistan in a precarious position. It was like a snowball rolling down a hill, growing larger and more threatening with each passing year. The country found itself sinking deeper into a quagmire of loans and repayments with little room for maneuvering. Simultaneously, the lack of foreign investment exacerbated the situation. Pakistan, with its rich resources and strategic location, had always held a certain allure for investors, but the unstable political climate and the looming threat of terrorism acted as powerful deterrents. The result? A significant dip in foreign investments, which further crippled the economy. In the midst of this, the energy crisis reared its ugly head. With constant power outages disrupting industries and households alike, the problem became a significant roadblock to economic progress. The energy shortage not only hampered production but also deterred potential investors, creating a vicious cycle of economic stagnation. And then there was the issue of political instability and corruption. A stable political environment is a prerequisite for a thriving economy. But in Pakistan, political instability and rampant corruption have been constant stumbling blocks. The frequent changes in government, coupled with widespread corruption, have undermined economic policies and hindered growth. In this 21st century, the economic crisis in Pakistan evolved, becoming more complex and deeply rooted. It was no longer a simple issue of budget deficits or balance of payments. It had morphed into a multifaceted problem with political, social, and security dimensions. The economic crisis had now become a chronic problem, deeply embedded in the country's fabric. Fast forward to the present day, and you'll find that Pakistan's economy is in a state of precarious balance. The nation is grappling with economic indicators that paint a troubling picture. High inflation, low growth rates, and high unemployment rates are casting long shadows over the country's economic landscape. Let's delve a little deeper into this. Inflation, the stealthy thief that erodes the value of money, is currently at a high level. This means the cost of goods and services is increasing, hitting the common man's pocket hard. Basic necessities like food and fuel are becoming increasingly expensive, and the average Pakistani is finding it harder to make ends meet. Now let's talk about growth rates. Economic growth is a measure of a country's overall economic health, and right now, Pakistan's growth rates are alarmingly low. This low growth means fewer jobs, less income, and ultimately a lower standard of living for the people. The issue of unemployment is another pressing concern. High unemployment rates mean that a significant portion of the population is jobless. This not only leads to financial hardship for individuals and families, but also contributes to social instability. And then there's the elephant in the room, the COVID-19 pandemic. This global health crisis has dealt a heavy blow to Pakistan's already struggling economy. Lockdowns and restrictions have led to business closures and job losses, further exacerbating the economic issues the country is facing. In a nutshell, the economy of Pakistan is under immense pressure. The high cost of living, coupled with low growth and high unemployment, is a recipe for economic hardship. Add to this the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and you have a situation that's nothing short of a crisis. The economic crisis in Pakistan is not just a problem, but a stark reality that millions face every day. It's a challenge that requires immediate attention, innovative solutions, and above all, unwavering resolve to overcome. So, what does the future hold for Pakistan's economy? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? To answer these questions, we must first acknowledge that the future is not set in stone. It is a tapestry woven from the threads of decisions made today. For Pakistan, the path to economic recovery will require a multi-pronged strategy. one that is both innovative and practical. A vital part of this strategy is economic reforms. It's about making the necessary changes to policies and practices that have contributed to the current crisis. This could mean revising tax laws to ensure fairness and transparency, or implementing regulations to curb corruption and enhance accountability. It's a challenging task, no doubt, but one that is necessary for a healthier and more resilient economy. Attracting foreign investment is another critical component of this strategy. Pakistan has a wealth of resources and a vibrant workforce that could be attractive to international investors. However, to draw them in, the country needs to foster a stable and conducive business environment. Improving infrastructure, ensuring political stability, and protecting investors' rights are some ways to achieve this. Strengthening institutions is equally essential. A country's institutions, its government, its judiciary, its education system, among others, form the backbone of its economy. By ensuring these institutions are robust, transparent, and efficient, Pakistan can create a solid foundation for economic growth and development. But let's not forget, this road ahead is not just about policies and strategies. It's also about the people of Pakistan, their resilience, their ingenuity, their determination to forge a better future for themselves and their country. It's about leaders who are willing to make tough decisions, who prioritize the nation's interest over personal gains. While the road to recovery is long and fraught with challenges, it's not an impossible journey. The future of Pakistan's economy lies in the hands of its people and its leaders. The question is, are they ready to take on the challenge?